Hi, I'm Movie Man. I'm a dragon who reviews movies. And as you already know, today's review is going to be on.
Here it comes!
Given the movie that I'm reviewing in this video, I felt it only made sense that maybe we give the octopus a break for now and instead we'll let his friend the dragon do a review of this movie. Um so yeah, we have How to Train Your Dragon reviews by a dragon. But anyway, so yeah, I'm reviewing the live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. Now some of you might be thinking, hang on a minute. This movie's been out for like over a month now, and yet he's only now just reviewing it. Yeah, well, see, obviously the live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon came out there last month in June, and I actually did go to see it at the time it came out, but I didn't get a chance to review it yet, but I actually went to go see it there again yesterday, as of the day I'm recording this, which, by the way, the day I'm recording this review is July 16th. Yeah, I saw the movie there for myself again yesterday. So I figures that now that I have some time, I may as well get around to reviewing it since I didn't have a chance to review it last month. So anyway, yeah, How to Train Your Dragon, the live action remake of the animated movie from 2010. Now, in terms of my expectations going into How to Train Your Dragon, the live action remake, yeah, so now I've been a big fan of the How to Train Your Dragon franchise pretty much since I was a kid. I have seen all three of the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, and I really liked all three of them. It has been a while since I watched the second and third movie, but yeah, I did watch the first movie there again recently. I rewatched it in preparation for this new film. And yeah, I honestly forgotten how good How to Train Your Dragon really is. Like, honestly, it's a great movie. It's a great animated film. Like, it's such a heartwarming story, honestly. I could get more into it than that, but yeah, I really do love the original How to Train Your Dragon. Oh, and by the way, I just want to say, I'm going to dedicate this review to my great friend, the Dragon Critic, aka Lee O'Brien. Because obviously, if you watch his channel, you know that he's literally a huge fan of How to Train Your Dragon. It's no wonder he calls himself the Dragon Critic. And I mean, yeah, for the longest time, How to Train Your Dragon 3, The Hidden Worlds, was actually his all-time favorite movie, and it still is one of his favorite films. So yeah, Lee, yeah, if you're watching this now, yeah, this review is dedicated to you, boss. I will leave a link to Lee's channel in the description. You should go check him out. He's a great guy. So anyway, but yeah, I love the original How to Train Your Dragon. And yeah, I found out, what that they were going to be remaking this movie. And it's safe to say my expectations going into this honestly were not that high because, like, for those of you that have, like, really kept up with this channel, then I take it a lot of you probably already know, like, how I feel about live action remakes. Like, because obviously I know, like, over the last, like, 15 years or so, it's something that Disney has really, gotten obsessed with doing, and, honestly, I haven't really been a fan of most of the live action remakes that Disney has put out. Like, they gave us two remakes just there earlier this year with Snow White and Lilo and Stitch. And if you saw my reviews for both of those movies, you'll know that I personally wasn't too mad about either of them. Um, what is interesting though is that the fact that Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon both have remakes within weeks of each other, because obviously both the original Lilo and Stitch and the original How to Train Your Dragon were directed by the same two guys, Chris Sanders and Dean Deblois. I know that's actually mad. Both of their animated classics have remakes now within weeks of each other. That's actually wild. But on the topic of Dean Deblois, yeah, I knew alright that they were bringing him back to direct this live action remake because obviously he co-directed the first film, and I'm pretty sure he directed the two sequels as well. And like, I figure like maybe with them bringing him back, maybe there could be something promising with this, but I didn't exactly hold my expectations too high, and then once we started getting some of those trailers for it, yeah, my expectations still were not very high because, like, from what we were seeing of this movie from the trailers, it literally just looked like, a complete, like, shot for shot remake of the original movie. Like, pretty much, like, literally the exact same film, but in live action. And that just sounds boring to me personally. So yeah, it's kind of no wonder that I didn't really have my expectations too high for this one, but anyway, so yeah, I saw the movie there for myself last month, and I saw it there again the other day. So having been to see it for myself twice now, what do I make of it? Now, I'll be completely honest. Yeah, this is literally just the exact same movie. Like, there are one or two little things that are a bit different, but for the most part, this film is pretty much just like a shot for shot remake of the original but in live action. Now, do I think it's a straight up bad movie? Well, not really, honestly. Like, actually, I don't really think it's actually that bad of a movie, but the main reason for why I enjoyed this movie as much as I did is mainly just due to the fact that it is the same movie as the animated film, but anyway, we're like 10 minutes into this review now, and I still haven't even gone to actually just going into my full thoughts on the movie itself. Anyway, sorry, let's get to actually talking about this one. So first off, the cinematography in the movie is overall pretty good. Like, I will say it is actually a very well shot movie in my opinion. Like even though like the movie is like very much a shot for shot remake, like honestly, I actually do like how the movie looks and stuff. Like, I'll give them this, they definitely put a fair amount of effort into the film, you know, making it look as good as it did. Like, you know, like it's very well shot. I love like a lot of these shots, like of the island of Berk and stuff, and like all these different shots of like the characters and like the shots of like with the dragons and stuff. And like these scenes where our characters are kind of fighting some dragons. I think all that's pretty cool. I think especially though, like I think where the cinematography really does shine is kind of during like the flight scenes when we actually see Hiccup flying on Toothless. Like yeah, like yeah, I think all that's actually pretty well handled here. Like it's actually very nicely shot and stuff. As I said, the flying scenes are really well shot, and I also think like especially like, during the film's final battle scene where you know they're fighting against you know the main dragon villain of the movie. I thought like that aspect was well done here. I'll definitely give it that much. The cinematography is honestly very good in this film. I think the editing overall is decent enough. Like the movie's pretty much edited in like kind of a similar way to how the animated movie is. Although like what kind of makes this movie a bit different from the original is how like some shots will kind of go on for a bit longer than how they did in the animated movie, and so like yeah, because of it like it's kind of edited in a particular way and stuff. But like I mean, I think overall it's edited well enough. Like you know, it's edited competently, and like I think you know a lot of the sequences are well edited. Like the dragon training sequences and the flying sequences. I will say though, there are one or two points where some of the edits can feel a bit off admittedly. But for the most part, I think overall it's fine, so I thought the editing was decent. Now, in terms of the film's pace, what is interesting is that even though this movie is like practically a shot-for-shot remake, like this movie is actually a bit longer than the animated film because the animated movie is like about an hour and 38 minutes, I believe, whereas this movie is actually 2 hours and 5 minutes. I'm pretty sure the reason for why this movie is actually a bit longer than the animated film is like because you know as I mentioned, even though it is like very much similar shots, they kind of hold the shots for a bit longer than they did in the animated film. Like I will say the pace didn't really bother me that much because like obviously I know like with it being pretty much the same movie that's like I know like how the story is gonna go and I know like exactly everything that's gonna happen. So like yeah, I'm pretty much kind of just going along with the flow of it all, and I think that kind of helps in like not really making the movie feel that long. Like I felt like while watching this movie, it actually kind of did fly by pretty well, despite the fact that it's like 2 hours long. Like I actually did feel it going by pretty well, but I think that really did come down to the fact that, it is pretty much like the same movie, so like I know exactly how the story is gonna play out, and so therefore I'm kinda just watching it all go by and stuff. But yeah, I didn't really mind the pace that much despite the 2 hour runtime, and I do think the pace will benefit, like, if you have actually seen the original movie and you know everything that's gonna happen, then, like, this definitely won't feel like too long of a film. So I thought the pace was actually okay in that regard. I think overall the sound and music in the movie is actually quite good. Like in terms of sound effects, I think like all the sounds of like these dragons and stuff, like they are like obviously pretty good, and like there's good sound effects for like the dragons. They're flying, they're fire breathing and stuff, and like the sound effects during like a lot of the action scenes and like with all these weapons and stuff, I think is pretty good. And like even like a lot of the other sound effects, even like the flying scenes and stuff. Like overall, there are good sound effects in the movie, and like I will say the music in the film is good, but that's kind of because a lot of the score with this movie is like pretty much the same score as the original film, so like it's kind of no wonder that's going to be good. Like I know it's particularly with the track Test Drive, like if you're a How to Train Your Dragon fan, you know exactly like what Test Drive is. It's practically this franchise's theme song, and like in like that scene like with the test drive, you obviously know what I'm talking about if you've seen like either versions of this movie. I just really love hearing the song again because it's just so good. Like honestly, I like during that sequence I just got so carried away like with all like the nostalgia basing and stuff, but nonetheless, like there is like good sound effects and there's good music in the movie. But again, like I think a reason for why the music is good as it is because of the fact that it's the same score from the original film. Again, it's a good score by all means, but you know yourself, it's no wonder why it's very good. Now I will say about the visual effects of the movie now. I will say the movie does have good visuals. Like the CGI for the dragons is actually like really really good. Like trust me, like I actually genuinely felt as if like these dragons were actually there and stuff. Like they're actually really well like brought to life in that regard and stuff. And in terms of like how they really go like with like the set design of the islands of Berk and stuff. I think it's actually really good. But I'll be honest though, where some of my issues come in here is well really with like the designs of some of these dragons. Like first off, in terms of Toothless's design, now, I'll admit, Toothless does actually look really, really good in live action. Like, trust me, I actually really like the design for Toothless in this film. Like, I will say they did a great job of actually really bringing him to life in this movie. Like, really bringing him into live action. And like, it really does kind of match the original movie a lot. Like it's pretty much the same design brought into real life and stuff. It's actually really good. My problems though are with some of the designs for like the other dragons, like, because I noticed with like a lot of the other dragons, like they kind of try to make them look a bit too realistic. I felt just like with Toothless, they still made him look pretty cartoony, like with the original film, but with a lot of the other dragons, they actually kind of just made them like more realistic looking. And like I don't know if it really works because you have Toothless, who is like a cartoony dragon, and then you have all these other dragons that are more realistic looking. I just didn't really think it really fit together very well, honestly. So yeah, I kind of had a bit of a flaw with the movie in that regard, but nonetheless, though, honestly, it is good CGI, I'll admit. It's just like the designs for a lot of the dragons, I'm not a fan of. Same for Toothless. Toothless looks good in live action, but all the other dragons could have looked better, honestly. Anyway, getting on to the characters and the performances now. I'll be honest, I won't really be talking about the characters themselves more so because, like, the majority of the characters are pretty much, the same, like, characters that they were in the original movie. I'm more so going to be talking about, like, the performances from the actors who played them in live action. So starting off with Mason Thames as Hiccup. Now, like, even when I did hear that Mason Thames had been cast as Hiccup, I obviously know who Mason Thames is because of course he was in The Black Phone from a few years ago, and of course The Black Phone 2 is actually coming out in October this year, but yeah, it is cool to see him in another movie after The Black Phone because I thought he was really good in The Black Phone, but sorry, on to How to Train Your Dragon. I will say he's really good as Hiccup. Like honestly, I think like he's probably the standout of the cast here. Like, to be fair, I actually thought like he did a really good job. Like in terms of actually kind of like really bringing Hiccup to life and stuff in live action. Like, I thought he actually did a genuinely good job of, kind of really capturing like the awkwardness of Hiccup's character, and like he actually did a good job, I'll admit. Now as for Nico Parker as Astrid, I'm a kind of a bit more mixed on her performance. Like, I don't really know like how I really feel about like her performance as Astrid. Like, I mean, it's not like she's horrible or anything, but I don't know. I kind of felt like her performance kind of came across as a bit wooden at times. Like, I don't know. It's at times it didn't really feel like she was actually, really capturing, the real stoicness of Astrid's character. No pun intended, by the way. Actually, kind of pun intended, yeah. But I don't know, I just didn't really feel it with her as Astrid. And not to mention also, like, I just didn't really feel like her chemistry with Mason Thames, because, like, Mason Thames does a good job in the movie as Hiccup, but, like, in terms of, like, their chemistry together, I don't know. I didn't really feel it that much in this one. So yeah, I didn't really think she was like great as Astrid, to be honest. I'm kind of a bit mixed on her performance overall as the character. And then we have Stoic, who is of course played by Gerard Butler, who of course actually reprises the role because he actually also voiced Stoic in the animated trilogy. But yeah, I already thought that Gerard Butler did a great job like voicing Stoic in the trilogy, and he does a good job playing him here again. Like he's already familiar with this character, and in terms of like actually kind of bringing him to life in live action, playing him, overall I thought he did like a solid enough job. Like again, he's familiar with the character, so he does the job well here. Like I actually thought he was very good as well. And then we also have Nick Frost as Gobber. Like I actually kind of liked his performance as Gobber in the movie. Like it actually did seem like Nick Frost wasn't like entirely trying to make Gobber the same character from the original movie. Like it actually kind of did seem, like he was actually trying to make the character his own a bit. And to be fair, I actually thought he did well enough. Like he was charismatic, he was entertaining, I thought he was solid. And like I thought like the performances from like some of the other like actors in the movie were overall decent enough. Like everyone kind of did like a solid enough job of kind of bringing these characters into live action. I won't really say more on that, but yeah, for the most part, I thought the acting in the movie was good enough. I will say about Toothless himself as a character, I already spoke about his design, but in terms of him himself as a character, like, he was still, like, a really fun dragon, like, he was actually still a decent character, and I actually did like the chemistry with him and Mason Thames as Hiccup. But my problem with Toothless in the movie, though, is that, I don't know, like, it kind of feels as if he's actually kind of sidelined in this movie, which I know is a bit weird to say because I know technically Hiccup is meant to be the main character, but like in the original movie, it felt as if it was kind of both of their movies. Like it was Hiccup and Toothless, it was kind of their movie, but I don't know, I felt like in this movie, Toothless actually kind of felt a bit more sidelined. Like it kind of felt like it was more so Hiccup's story than Toothless's. And yeah, I don't know, I wasn't really a big fan of that. Like I honestly feel like they could have done a bit more with like Toothless as a character in the movie. He was still okay, still a cute character and stuff, but yeah, I don't know, I feel like they just could have done a bit more with him, honestly, in this film. Yeah, overall, I thought, like, the acting in the movie, for the most part anyway, was solid enough for, like, everyone kind of, bringing these characters to life. I thought they all did, like, pretty well, honestly. Now, in terms of the movie's plot, as I've already mentioned, this movie is a shot-for-shot remake of the original movie, so it's pretty much just like, the same movie, like, beat for beat and stuff, like, all, like, the same major plot points and stuff, so, yeah, like, in terms of, like, how this movie kind of brings this story into live action, like, it's done well, admittedly, like, I'll give this, it's a very well made movie. Like as I said, the visuals are good. The set design of Berk is really good, and the majority of the actors actually do well with the material. Like I will say, like the reason why I enjoyed this movie as much as I do is because, like, there clearly is like some like genuine bit of passion being put into this in terms of like trying to bring this story into live action. Like this movie definitely has a lot more passion put into it than the majority of Disney remakes. But like with all that being said though, like the fact that this movie pretty much is just the same film as the animated movie that's kind of also like its biggest draw as well, is because with it being the same film, like there's nothing really new to for it. Like there's not really like much of a reason for the movie to actually exist other than, the obvious reason. But yeah, again, it's a very like well told story. Like it's well written and stuff, and it's it is brought to life well in live action. But like again, it is just the same movie as the animation film. So like really, you could just go back and watch the original animated movie, and like there wouldn't be like that whole lot difference. It's a very well made film regardless, but again, it does kind of just suffer from being like pretty much the same movie but in live action. It does rely a bit heavily on like the nostalgia base as well. I already mentioned earlier like how the whole sequence like with the test drive that's just really, you know, kind of made me feel like, oh yes, it's the scene from the original film. Yeah, like I pretty much felt that way a fair bit throughout the movie. Again, it's all very well made, but just the fact that it is the same movie, you can't help but just feel like all this is a bit pointless. You could just go back and watch that original movie. Um, but yeah, like objectively, it is a good plot. But again, the fact that it is the same movie, that kind of just really brings it down a bit, I feel. But yeah, in terms of the film's narrative structure now, again, with it pretty much being the same film, like, you have all the same plot points about Hiccup, Sark, and Sark and stuff, and like his whole bond with Toothless, and like pretty much Hiccup's arc as a character in this movie. It's pretty much all like the exact same as the animated film, so it is pretty much the same narrative structure as the original movie. And again, like, it's very well made, very well executed in live action and stuff with all the technical aspects of it. But it's just the fact that it is the same exact movie as the animated film. It just makes the whole thing kind of feel a bit pointless, because you could literally just go back and rewatch the original movie. So I actually just don't really have much to say about the narrative structure with this film other than that. Like, it's the same movie, but in live action. But, yeah, overall, for what it's worth, I did enjoy the live action How to Train Your Dragon more than I thought I would, because it is a very well made film. It's shot well. There's good sound effects, there's good music, there's good visuals, there's solid acting, and it's a good story and everything. But like, again, the problem with it is that it's like the exact same film as the animated movie, so therefore it kind of all just comes across as a bit pointless. And again, I enjoyed the movie enough for what it was. Again, I'll still take this movie over the majority of Disney's live action remakes any day. Yeah, but again, it is the same film as the animated movie, so that kind of is, what does just bring it down a bit for me. And yeah, I know, like, we are going to be getting a sequel to this in 2027, and I presume that's just going to be the second movie, but in live action as well. And they'll probably remake the third movie as well in live action. So I will still watch those admittedly when they come out. But yeah, again, I enjoyed the movie enough for what it was, and like, like if you do want to see like, the original film like put into live action, it will do the trick. And like, again, like, I did enjoy it. It is a well made movie, but the fact that it is, a shot for shot remake pretty much, it kind of makes the whole thing feel a little pointless. So, yeah, overall, it's an okay movie. It's enjoyable, but I can't say I love it too much since it literally is just copying the animated film. Overall, it's an okay movie, but I feel like maybe we could have changed some things up a bit with it. Anyway, with all that said, I'm going to give the live action How to Train Your Dragon a 6 out of 10. So with that, I'll see you guys next time, and bye.